morning to everybody. Thank you, thank you for taking the time to be interested in the history of this country, the history of all of us, our personal history. Today we've gathered on a farm in Kawartha, and they've been moving a lot of dirt from development. I came up because I'm very concerned about what's going up in Kawartha, as it's been going on down in Toronto where I live, in through the Rouge Valley, and I'm sure you all know the trouble that's going on with the Greenbelt conspiracy. So we've gathered here today, and I'm on a farm property today, and I'm standing with the owner of the farm today, who's a really good friend, and you can see her cows are all around us, and she lives next to where they have dumped all the soil that they were digging. And all this soil that was dug up, all these things that were removed by maybe 100 trucks or more and brought here on the other side of this fence up here. The reason that we're gathering today is I've recently been given an honor. After 69 years, I've recently become the new honorary chief of the Kawartha Lakes Band. I'm standing here with Chief Bill.
I'm here.
I'm standing here with the rest of the farmers and brothers of the circle,
And
of We the People.
Yep, Deputy Steve, Chief Deputy Steve behind.
Yep.
Band Council Member Greg, Band Council Member Doug.
And the reason that I wanted to gather everybody today is my deep concern is what's happening up here has already happened in the GTA with the onslaught of development. And what I'm really worried about is it's a word that I brought forward and has been successful within the courts, and it's the power of what we call transparent, honest consultation. And I'm talking about consultation, which means before shovels, bulldozers, or thought up plans are drawn up, all that type of thing. I'm concerned about what's being destroyed, and it's going too fast with this development, especially with no consultation. And the reason we've gathered here this morning is people don't understand really the history or the culture when it comes to, say, per se archaeology related to indigenous people globally. And it's in a thread all around the world. And we're talking about burial grounds and village sites. We're talking about tool sites, spiritual sites. We're talking about sacred places where the grounds are sacred. And what we're asking for, and at the same time, today I'm standing up with my chiefs and band counselors because I have lived the onslaught. And so I've come up here today in a good way to make a stand today to let the provincial and the federal government and let the planet know that we're not going to allow this anymore. I'm making my stand today. I want this stopped, and to identify so you understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about trucks moving dirt and no consultation and all the land just being gulped up without any archaeological or environmental assessments, which is pertaining to the consultation process. That's how it's defined. So today, there's artifacts on the table that have been removed from the lands of the dumping. And I don't think a lot of people understand that per 1,000 years that goes by, we only get 1 inch of sediment on artifacts. Burials, they're usually very much deeper, and that usually requires a third stage investigation. But let's back up a bit. What's happened is these artifacts here, someone, maybe you are looking at it today and wondering, what the heck is it? What is this? I want to identify so you understand, and the reason I'm burning the medicine is because they were left in the ground, and the last people to touch these are our ancestors. They did not forget about them. I want you to know that they did not just leave them there. They were put there so that we could come along, and that's how we reclaim our history, and that is how we teach not only our children and grandchildren about who they are and their culture, but this is how we acknowledge to teach others so that they have an understanding of really, when you look out at the ground, what lays just beneath the ground. And so over here you've got, this would have sent, the women would have been in a chalice and a round, and they would put all the food in the corn, and this is what they would grind it with. They would use this as the grinder to grind all that food into powder. And then what you've got here, these are 10,000 years old. These are scrapers. And it came from a tool site, obviously. And that site is probably where it was a hunt site where they brought all the animals from the kill, and this is where they scraped them, the hides, and this is where they cleaned them all. And so what you've got here, if you've got all these different scrapers, and really what they are, they're the relics of our ancestors, and they are the backbone of our history. Because they were here first. We are the original people. And you've got all these different scrapers. And all these different scrapers that they had, they were all used for different areas, for different little parts of the scrape. Some were bigger, wider spaces, smaller. And that's exactly how they scraped them. And this one, you can tell that this grinding stone was a major place in a village, in that longhouse village, because this is how we grinded all that food. The bigger the stones, we have found that the more food they were grinding. And so what does that teach us? If they were grinding that more food, that means there were more people living there. So it was a bigger population, maybe a major village site. We don't know, because everything lays under the ground. And in 1999, I had enough of all of this. And I just thought it was horrific what was happening, so I launched a private prosecution against the provincial government on non-consultation. These very things. And in 2003, when we were summoned back to court for our summation of our trial and our case, Judge Ng, who presided over the case, he found the provincial government on 9 counts of guilty and read them all off, and even stated, this is Judge Ng, this is not me, it's in the records, it's in the documents. They had even perjured themselves. And at the end of the trial, Judge Ng was so angry. Never seen a judge angry, because, he's the judge. He was angry. He said, what's angered me about this trial? This has been a long trial. It started when Mr. Gregg launched it in 1999. We're now in 2003. He said, to this very date of you found guilty this morning on all 9 counts and even perjured yourselves in this courtroom, you still haven't produced one iota document of consultation, which you said you had thousands of consultation records. You see, let me make it very clear about consultation, the process. It's not calling a band office and leaving a message on the phone. It's not sending a fax to the chief or the band office. Consultation means that they have a fiduciary duty to go out and consult, which means they must make the time to meet with you. They must listen to everything that you have on the table. They must take it back and they must adjust it so that consultation is going to be transparent. It's going to be, you're going to like this one, it's going to be honest. If it was honest, from 2003, we would all not be standing here right now. Here. That's right. And I would not be here. And so, I'm going to say to you today that somewhere there has to be a line drawn. I only came in 1999 to make it right. And in 2003, what I had really won was the identifying respect that I now thought I recreated for this. But I want to tell you, it fell on deaf ears, and they are still not consulting. And this is what bulldozers don't see. You can't just walk across a piece of land and tell me what's there. Oh, it's all there, yes. No, it's everywhere. And we are losing, and listen to me closely, what we are losing the history of this country of Indigenous people. Another thing I'd like to touch base on. In the United States, my family, it's a little different for them down there. You see, if there's a police officer or a state trooper or a government employee that is actually going to be working on an Indigenous file with Indigenous people, that person must go through what we call a cultural awareness training program. And I think in the future, I would like, as the new chief of the Kawartha, I would like to renew that relationship. We're here and I'm here. I'm here to renew all these relationships, but I'm here also today to stand with my sub-chiefs and tell you, no more. We're not going to allow this anymore. I've had nightmares over this for 25 years. This started in that GTA, the Stained Road. They came to the Archie Little site and they dumped 500 bodies from the back of a dump truck, brought over from a subdivision development north of the 401 on Markham Road. They brought it all over there. They dug up this ossuary. They carried all 500 bodies up the hill, put them through a wood chipping machine, and then put them in a dump truck and backed them up to the golf course that they had destroyed after 100 years of being there in the Rouge. And they backed that truck up almost to the river and dumped that pile of remains. 500 skulls and remains all put through a wood chipping machine. Can any of you imagine that? I've been carrying that for 25 years. And a result of that negligence, and that's another thing I'm saying today, I'm drawing the line today. We are drawing the line today. The Chiefs of Ontario, I am calling you out because you never did anything. 500 bodies. There was no investigation. You didn't even want to talk to me. I'm still calling your office, and you're still not calling me back. And this is 25 years now. And as a result of all of your negligence, you couldn't stop it, and you couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop what was going on through me. Now, you can go to Google, Facebook, or Twitter. The Stained Road is now an upcoming movie in Hollywood, and on this planet, The Stained Road will tell the story that I never got the chance to tell. So I stand before you today, very humbly. I stand with my brothers and sisters, my chiefs and my band counselors, and I stand with this farmer, and I stand with our people. But enough of all of that said, I'm standing for my ancestors. And so I'd like my Chief Bill to maybe say a few words on behalf of some of the things I've spoke about today.
Thank you, Chief David. On behalf of the Kawartha First Nations Band, our deputy chiefs and our band council members, and our friends that care about this land, the farmers, we are filing over 60 private prosecution informations against all the people that have decimated our ancestral burial grounds between Highway 35 and Angeline Street, that have hauled all our ancestral remains here without doing a proper archaeological study, knowing that our ancestral remains were on that property. They have done no environmental assessment, no studies. They've all been forged and fraudulent. We are now going to do the same against them that were done against the Ontario government. We are going to hold this municipality, the developers from the GTA, the Premier of Ontario, that will be found guilty once we have completed the trial. On that, we will make a promise to our ancestral remains that are here in this ground. And at that, I pass it back to the deputy chief, to our chief, honorary chief.
Can't thank you enough for coming those of you that are watching today and here and are going to see this, in no way, shape, or form, I want you all to know, are we here to embarrass, harass, disrespect, be angry? Quite frankly, I stand before you, and I'm sure my chiefs and my band counselors will tell you that we're maybe sad. We're sad because, you see, I thought this was might be the end of it. In 2003 when I won, I thought, well, David, now the crown, maybe he's going to realize now his inherited fiduciary duty mandate that he has to make sure that clear, honest, transparent consultation is going to take place, so we don't have to do this again, because I don't want our children and grandchildren having to do this. We're the original people. These people deserve to be treated like it. And so today, with honor and respect, we stand before you to tell you, no more.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. The greed, the destruction of our culture, history, lands, everything, it's over today. We're creating an honest, transparent awareness of what you've done.
Just one further note. In this community, it's mainly built on farmers and farmland that produce the food for the nation. We are dedicated to work with the farmers to protect their lands from development and destruction. Our waters are being destroyed by our own people in government, dumping human raw sewage into our water. I mean, I don't understand, all for the greed of money. I mean, once you've destroyed something, it's gone. It's like what they've done to our ancestral burial sites down there and our ancestral artifacts. They're all here, and somebody is going to be held accountable in order to go through all the dirt that they removed and find all the rest of our ancestral artifacts, regardless, and remains. And they have to be put in a proper resting place. The ceremony that we're doing today will help move that forward, but it's not the end of our journey. Our journey is to stop this destruction all across the province of Ontario. That's our journey. That's our mission.
And today, you're watching this white buffalo medicine burn. She's like the most amazing woman, like Mother Earth. She knows where to go and she knows who needs her. And what's happening while we're standing here? With all these words, with all these good words, with all these good thoughts, with all these good emotions and all the good way that we have come here today, I want you to know that this medicine, she's drifting up all over and she's letting everything know that we are here. We will defend her. And another thing I'd like to say is, to all those people that are not protecting the water, you betrayed your mothers. You were born from her waters. This is something that's very dear to me, and I want to tell you really quickly why. I recently lost my mother-in-law. The week before my mother passed away, she asked me if I would do something for her because she said I was diligent. So I said I would, and my mother said, would you go tell people and remind them, because they have forgot about us. They have forgot where they came from. They have forgot their creation stories of that sacred water, that pure, beautiful spring clear water. And you know that there's not a scientist on this planet that has figured out how that salt water from the ocean gets in our women's stomachs to protect us when they're pregnant. We must protect the water. So if you're not protecting the water, you're not protecting your mother. If you love your mother, then think of the water that she bore us out of. And so today I want to touch base on that. We're going to protect the water. It hasn't been protected because you haven't protected it.
That's right. It gives life.
Water, do you know how to spell it? Do you know how we spell it in our culture? You spell water and teach your children to spell it. W-A-T-E-R. It does not resonate. This is how we teach our children. L-I-F-E.
Life.
Now you get it.
Life. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
My band counselors, my
Sir.
brothers,
Jing.
my farmers, we all stand together for you.
One
Now-
just one final comment, and I want to make this very clear. That we are all native to this land if we're born on this land. No one has the right to call themselves First Nation only that have rights. We as a collective group have the same rights as a card carrying First Nation person that is under the Indian Act. The difference is we deeply care about the remains of our ancestors, where they only care about the money that they get from the government. Thank you.
We look forward to the future. We look forward to working together. But the number one thing today is we have drawn the line.
Yep.
And so I'll say to you, on behalf of all of our ancestors, Yawangoa, thank you. Hi, hi. And to each and every one of our ancestors and relations, oh,